if you're Canadian, live in Ontario, Quebec area, I'm sure there are people from other provinces coming in, but the biggest Christian event happened in Toronto in June 2022. It was the Kirk Franklin x Maverick City concert. And you know what, we can go on about how, why did Canada only have one concert to cover its entirety? Because there are more than Christians just in Toronto, but that's a whole different story. We'll talk about that another time. God was moving in that place, y'all. I can tell you. And as I was standing there and I was listening to everyone worship, I heard the literal voice of an angel in my ear. As in, she was standing right beside me. As in, I had to become friends with her and I had to ask her to be on Truth Rediscovered so that you guys can hear the beauty, the blessing, the gift that she has. So our friend Nika Kanate will be singing for us. Stay tuned, subscribe, hit the notification button, and you don't want to miss when that cover drops. Without further ado, let's get in between the lines of Promises by Maverick City. I have my handy little dandy sheet here with the lyrics. So let's start with, just an ad-lib, because they really be doing it, y'all. Faithful through the ages. Even though it's one line, it hits because it quite literally says that God transcends time. Faithful through the ages. He has been faithful before you and I exist, and he'll be faithful long after you and I pass. And then it goes, God of Abraham, you are the God of covenant and of faithful promises. Time and time again, you have proven you'll do just what you said. You can't forget the things that God has done in the Bible, and you can't forget the things that God is doing in your life. We need to write those things down, and we need to remember that God keeps our promises, because when the going gets tough, when we have, when we're down to our last straw, we're not going to be able to compute that for ourselves. We won't even be able to understand the things that God has done in the past. We're going to be right there, right then in the moment. It's one of our weaknesses as humans, is that when we're in our tough times, it envelops us. It consumes us. So that's why we continue to read the Bible, to remember all the things that God has done for his people throughout time. And that's why, things like journaling is important, because God continues to work in our lives, and sometimes we just forget. And then it says, though the storms may come and the winds may blow, I'll remain steadfast. Do we? We just talked about this. Though the storms may come and the winds may blow, we have to remain steadfast. It's important that we, like we mentioned earlier, remain in the Word, remain fervent in prayer, and remember the promises that God has kept. And then it continues to say, and let my heart learn, when you speak a word, it'll come to pass. This line, the Bible has bare promises. Those promises weren't just written without purpose. Believe the words that God is speaking to us. What he says will come to pass, and we just have to believe in them. Then it goes on to say, and this is the chorus, great is your faithfulness to me. From the rising sun to the setting same, I will praise your name. God's faithfulness is unbeatable, because we can be messy, and that's okay. And, it's important to repent and to reconcile. I was trying to mix the two words with God. But also knowing that his faithfulness does not waver no matter what we do. He will continue to love us, continue to show us mercy, continue to take us from the rising sun to the setting sun. Every day that we take a breath, that's God showing how faithful he is to us and how faithful he is to our growth, and how faithful he is to his love for us. I think that's such a beautiful line. To the rising sun and to the setting the same. And throughout the day, let's lift up the name of God, because he has all these promises that he's keeping, and he's not a promise breaker. Sometimes answers and promises might not look how we think they will, but that's okay, because God is faithful to us, and all he's asking is that we praise his name every day, all day. And then it goes on to say, God from age to age transcends time. Though the earth may pass away, we know that this earth is temporary. We know that this life, we are just passing through. This is not the final destination. Your word remains the same. So I think when I read this line, I instantly think about how people have come, people have gone, and the word of God has been remained steadfast. His promises have not changed. Obviously there's different translations and different languages, etc., but the word of God, the integrity of it has not changed. All right. And then it says, I put my faith in Jesus, my anchor to the ground, my hope and firm foundation. He'll never let me down. So knowing God does not break his promises, there's no reason not to pull our full-fledged faith in him, to love him wholeheartedly, to commit ourselves to him wholeheartedly. His promises have never been broken, and they'll never fail. So how come it is that we put our trust and our love and our faith in temporary things and things we know are not trustworthy? It's tough. Great is his faithfulness. And I hope that from the moment the sun rises to the moment it sets, and then some, we can trust in the promises that God has made and put all our efforts into praising his name and letting others know the kind of love and faithfulness God has for his children.